Have you ever seen a window display that looks like Thomas Edison's workshop? Or a man wearing a top hat and he's not even at a wedding? Ever wondered what all the hype is about goggles and gears? It's steampunk. What is steampunk, you might ask? Come on a journey with me, full steampunk ahead, to find out. Ask a dozen steampunks to define it, and you're likely to get a dozen completely different, yet remarkably similar answers. That fact alone almost sums up the essence of steampunk in a nutshell. It's an individual yet shared experience, dabbling in an alternate reality fantasy world with a do-it-yourself mindset. Still confusing, right? To find out, I asked several people involved in steampunk to answer the question, what is steampunk? Here are the answers I got. First up, me. I know it when I see it and experience it, but to pin it down to a succinct definition is problematic. Here's what I came up with. Steampunk is a multifaceted movement that plays with an alternate, imagined reality based on the science fiction of H.G. Wells and Jules Verne. It combines time periods such as the Industrial Revolution and Victorian era with futuristic science fiction. I then asked my son Frankie who I found out about steampunk from. Frankie said, "Steampunk is a multitude of different things. Most simply, steampunk is 21st century themes and ideas mixed with ideas from the good old days. It's from the future, if the future existed in the early industrial age. For example, steam-powered time machines or jetpacks powered by coal." And I asked my friend Sue, who has a medieval band that frequently plays at steampunk events. Here is what Sue had to say. "Steampunk to me is a multidisciplined world that brings to present to the tomorrow we were offered by Victorian science fiction writers and inventors. Those imaginers of a future improved by the highest technology of that age." I asked Holly from the band Human Wine, which has been associated with steampunk. Holly said, "I would define steampunk as a celebration of the knowledge we have now with the late 18th, early 19th century aesthetic. It harkens back to a time when everything was steam-powered, thus the steam in steampunk. Now to the punk part. There is nothing more punk than DIY, less dependence on gigantic manufacturers, and more self-reliance. Tinkers and makers find a home in steampunk for this reason." Holly really hit upon something that struck a chord with me. Something about steampunk that I find so interesting. The contrast between the industrial age, which was all about new technology and using it to streamline manufacturing, even for creative endeavors such as film, with the DIY philosophy of everything from Luddites to homesteaders to transcendentalists to hippies and punks. There are a lot of contrasting elements in steampunk. It is an imagined world where, through the use of time travel and great voyage, almost anything can be blended. Victoriana and periscopes, sea creatures, and circus sideshows, the Gilded Age, and taxidermy, the Wild West, and oddities, ray guns, and rainbows, sculpture with cardboard or metal, expressed through music and theater, top hats and timepieces, sequins and skulls, cameras and costumes, young and old, inventions and adventures. But the best way to experience steampunk is to experience it yourself. Full steampunk ahead. Leave reality behind and play for a day. Then catch the essence of steampunk and carry it with you. Top hat and goggles optional.